Welcome back to my series of James Bond reviews. So far we've talked about the first 6 James Bond movies, and now we're talking about Diamonds Are Forever. I have a playlist of my James Bond reviews, so if you want to go check that out, the link is in the description. Also, spoiler warning for Diamonds Are Forever. So in my opinion, Diamonds Are Forever is the worst James Bond movie I've seen so far. And most people agree that this is a really weak James Bond movie. And before I start talking about why this is a pretty bad movie, I want to start off with some positives. This movie is actually extremely entertaining. It's digestible and easy watch, and it's actually probably the most fun I've had watching a James Bond movie yet. This movie also has some spectacular action. A lot of it still holds up today, and it's actually jaw-dropping. There's this part where James Bond is on an elevator, and he's trying to sneak into a building without anyone seeing it, and he's really high in the air. And it's actually pretty nerve-wracking because it looks so real. And it's hard to believe that this movie was made almost 50 years ago. My only problem with the action is that there's way too many near-death encounters. I know that the other James Bond movies had a lot of near-death encounters, but they were only limited to like 2 or 3, and this one has like 6 or 7. And once you get to like the 4th one or something, it gets pretty annoying because you know that James Bond is gonna make it out of it alive. But overall, the action was really great and probably the best part of the entire movie. Another positive about this movie is Sean Connery's performance. Sean Connery gives his best performance as James Bond, and it's pretty mind-blowing how good he is at it, and he seems so cool and relaxed, and also really handles the more intense moments and balances them with comedy just the right way. And it really is pretty impressive to see how well Sean Connery acted as James Bond. Now let's talk about the negatives in this film. Let's start off with the story. The story is actually interesting enough on paper, but once they converted it into a movie, it was really horribly executed. And it feels like somewhere in the process of converting this into a movie that they really messed up with what they wanted to do. And basically the story just became messy, rushed, and pretty silly. Another issue with this movie is the pacing. The pacing is really awful. It jumps scene to scene in like every 2 minutes. There's this part right at the beginning where James Bond is interrogating a bunch of people, and it really just cuts to the next person every 30 seconds. And there's also a part halfway through the movie where Plenty gets thrown out of a window and we just move on to the next James Bond woman. And it feels so rushed and messy that if you stop watching for like a minute, you're going to miss a whole lot of the movie. Let's talk about the characters. James Bond is really great in this movie, and it's because of Sean Connery's amazing performance. But everyone else in here is really bland, uninteresting, and they feel actually pretty pointless. Even Blofeld, even though he's the villain of this entire movie, he still felt pointless. Overall, Diamonds Are Forever is a pretty bad James Bond movie, and it fails at a good story and interesting characters and a whole lot of other things. But if you just want to be entertained and have some cool action, then you will probably like this movie. But I wanted a bit more of this, so I was pretty disappointed by this film, and I'm going to give Diamonds Are Forever a 5 out of 10. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll be back soon with my reviews of Hotel Transylvania 2 and Cry Macho, so stay tuned for those. You can check out my other channels in the description, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!